All right. That's enough. Hey, give it up for Costa, everybody. Give it up for your boy. Very impressive. Very nice. Your next performer looks a lot like me because it is me. How are we doing? My name is Anish. I'm Indian. And that's the right reaction. I tell people I'm Indian, they don't believe me. They're like, oh my God, what part of India is Mexico in? Glad you agree. My parents are both Indian. They're from a city named Calcutta. By the way I said that, you could probably tell that I'm not from Calcutta. They raised me in Queens. I was born in Queens. Anyone familiar with the area of Queens, New York? I love Queens. I love growing up in Queens. It's so diverse and ethnic. All the street signs are in different languages. You have no idea where you are. You know, I was one of very many brown-skinned people in Queens. And then I moved to the suburbs, and I became the only Hispanic. All the street signs were in English. I had realized at 8 years old that I was actually in America the whole time. My mom was very hard on me growing up, very, very strict, you know, as most immigrants are. I was never really allowed to do anything that was deemed, you know, a waste of my time. A lot of my friends in school, especially when I moved to the suburbs, they were getting really into sports. And they were into the NBA, the MLB, the NFL. My mom made sure that I was obsessed with the SAT. It's my main sport that I played in high school, okay? And I really did treat it like a sport. I would practice every weekend. She was always on my back, like, you have to practice. Very aggressive, bad punishments if I didn't practice. I realized the SAT is the only sport where you can get injured if you don't practice. You know? But assimilating is hard. You know, I ultimately did end up going to college, and I actually had a very, very good friend of mine. Became one of my best friends. That was from India, had never set foot in the United States before, ever. And he had a really tough time getting assimilated. He wasn't familiar with the language. He wasn't really familiar with American culture. But after 4 years, his math and science scores were so low that he was a real American. Tell my mom I was majoring in economics. She was like, what kind of medicine is that? What is that? What are you doing? Oh. My parents are doing this to me. No. My parents have an arranged marriage, as you learned from the last skit. I guess clap if you know what that is. I feel like we do have a few people that might not. I'll explain. Like, for instance, you know, I'm looking for like the nearest white person. An arranged marriage, sir, is when you don't get to choose the person you end up divorcing. That's how that works. But 30 years old now, like you know, feel a little weird. You know, it depends. Depending on who you talk to, you get very, really weird, odd, mixed reactions, right? Like when I talk to people that are also 30 or near 30, you know, they're like, oh my God, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Like, this isn't really a club that I ever wanted to be in. I mean, you know, and it's always said with some sort of nervousness, like they don't really want to be in the club either, right? They kind of just found themselves there. The worst is when I talk to someone younger, though. You know, you talk to someone younger and you tell them you're 30, they just have no idea what you're even talking about. They're like, oh my God, 30 years old? That'll, like, never happen to me. That will never happen to me. You know, they act like it's some sort of disease that they're going to wake up one day and just be 30, which is kind of actually how it works, to be honest. I've been living in New York City for a long time. Clap if you live in New York City, if you live in Manhattan, actually. In Manhattan. All right, good. We do have the 401k crowd in the building. We have some Trump's tax cut beneficiaries here. I don't know how people afford to live in Manhattan. It has gotten so expensive recently. Like, I found an apartment, for kicks and giggles online in the West Village for $5,000 a month. Studio apartment. If you don't know what a studio apartment is, just check out the bathroom. It's downstairs. $5,000 a month in the West Village. It's not even a real village. Like in Manhattan, if a tree grows, it's a village, right? We found a village. All I'm saying is if I'm going to spend that much money to live in the West Village, I better run into Gandalf when I go to Starbucks, okay? Better be ordering lattes or something. Yeah, housing's tough. I used to have a roommate. He used to be a friend, but then he got demoted. But he came up to me one day, and he was like, "Hey, Anish, do you mind if my girlfriend stays with us for a little while until she figures something out?" And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Why not? That's completely fine, bro. 4 months later, I go up to him, I'm like, "Yo, dude, do you mind talking to your girlfriend?" And he was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll talk to her. He goes up to her and he says, "Hey, babe, do you mind if Anish stays here for a little while until he figures something out?" Yeah, relationships are tough. My mom thought I was going to marry my last girlfriend. And that's the only thing they had in common. I made a big mistake when I was in high school. I paid attention in geometry class. Anyone else do that? I work at a corporate job, and I've just never been in a situation where my boss called me into his office and was like, "Anish, we have a crisis situation. Are these triangles congruent?" Just can't tell. I have plenty of friends that are doctors. They've been in school for like 20 years, 30 years maybe, right? I've never heard one story from one of my doctor friends like, "We were gonna lose the patient, but then Ahmed here figured out that the area of the circle is 2 pi. Can't even draw a parabola. But then again, I was always very, very bad at biology. It was not a good subject for me. Okay, good. None of you paid attention in high school either. That's great. You know who really doesn't care that you spent a lot of money on an education? The bank. They just want to get paid, right? I think one of the dumbest terms that we use is student debt. It doesn't really matter that it's student debt. Debt is debt. It's like saying you have hummus love handles, Or ex-girlfriend AIDS, right? Doesn't matter how you got it, just get rid of it, right? Nah, that one's a little edgy. You can't really compare student debt to AIDS because I do know some people that have gotten rid of AIDS. I do have a couple friends, though, that got rid of their student debt, but they got AIDS in the process. So. Yeah. A couple of my friends are doing this thing where they like to go to a bar, they sit down, and they start online dating at the bar. Like left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, at the bar with their phone. It's like, you're in the game. Look left, look right. You can do this in real life. Online dating at a bar is like going to a library and listening to audiobooks. It's quiet here. I can focus. I have some friends doing the opposite. One of my friends proposed to his girlfriend after dating for 10 years. I don't know. I mean, it took him 10 years to make a mistake, right? Come on, that's like voting for George Bush now. Like, the worst part about it is he's got the nerve to get on Facebook and post a picture like, oh my God, she said yes. She said yes. It's like, buddy, after 10 years, she's probably saying okay. Thank you guys so much. Are you having a good time or what? Please welcome back my co-host, Sachin Shan.
Let's give another round of applause to my co-host doing a full set here for you guys, right?